Hey folks, Hamish here from Long and Winding. Oh, hello, what you doing? Kids, gotta love them. A little while ago, I had the pleasure of riding the Revel Ranger for a couple of weeks, and I wanted to share my thoughts on this awesome rig. Before I get into that, I wanted to share a little explainer on what the hell Downcountry is. Downcountry is a pretty new phenomena, and there's a whole new breed of mountain bikes hitting the market, and I just thought it might help people to understand a little bit more about this genre. So let's hear about Downcountry. A few years ago, life in the mountain bike world was relatively simple. We had XC bikes for races, trail bikes for the masses, enduro bikes for gravity riding, and downhill bikes for, well, downhill. So why complicate things and add a new genre? There's no doubting that these days bikes have become more and more capable, and there's no better example of that than trail bikes. Trail bikes were designed for your everyday mountain biker who wanted a supportive, forgiving and capable bike they could ride just about anywhere. However, over time, the geometry and travel on these bikes started to move more towards their bigger and burlier enduro bike counterparts. On paper, your trail bike of today is your typical enduro bike of only a few years ago. That has left a pretty substantial gap between XC bikes and trail bikes, and although modern trail bikes climb and pedal incredibly well, they can start to feel a little too much bike when riding regular trails. We don't all live in Squamish or have the North Shore in our backyards. This growing gap between XC bikes and trail bikes has created a need for a lightweight bike that pedals really well, yet still allows you to have loads of fun on the descents. Downcountry bikes sit in the widening gap between XC and trail bikes. To me, the genre makes sense, especially for the majority of the trails we have to hand here in Australia. The big bike manufacturers like Cannondale Specialized have released 120mm versions of their XC race bikes, and Yeti has recently made their SB100 and SB115. So what can the Ranger offer that separates it from the pack? Revel are a handful of guys from Colorado that have a deep passion for riding. Their goal? Make the best full suspension mountain bikes ever. They've already made a splash with their 27.5 gravity focused rail and their 29er trail bike, the Rascal. And now they're looking to make their mark in the downcountry scene. At 115mm of rear travel, the Ranger is Revel's baby of their lineup, and the frame is 450 grams lighter than the Rascal, a full pound. Revel's bikes are all carbon and utilize Canfield Brothers' Canfield Balanced Formula Suspension, or CBF for short. Don't let the acronym fool you, this system works amazingly well, but we'll have more on that later. This bike isn't as light as a World Cup race bike, but that was never Revel's intent. With a short stem and wide bars, Revel are making a clear statement about the intent of this bike. The Ranger has a clear focus on descending, and it really shines in that space. The bike is also stunning to look at, especially in the Johnny Green Jeans colorway. It really turned a few heads on the trail. Sizes go through small, medium, large and XL, and the frame comes with a threaded bottom bracket, along with options to mount a bottle cage both on top and underneath the down tube. There's also another mount further up the down tube you can use to mount a toolkit or whatever you choose. It's kind of a nice touch. I did notice that when I had a bottle mounted to the underside of the down tube, it buzzed the front tire a little when the suspension compressed, even with the 500ml bottle. Not the end of the world though. The frames also come with a lifetime warranty, which is nice since not all manufacturers are doing this these days. This Pro build is priced at 11,600 Australian through Off-Road Bikes in Australia, or just under 7,400 in the US. I should note that these prices do include the Revel Fusion Fiber wheels, which the bike I tested didn't come with. There are GX and Eagle Axis builds available, but like I said, Revel is a small and boutique brand making super high quality products, so prices are going to reflect that. In terms of geometry, I got on this bike and instantly felt comfortable and ready to shred. This was a medium frame which felt perfect for me, despite Revel's website telling me I was a size small. I'm 168 centimeters and I definitely wouldn't want to go smaller. The head tube angle is 67.5 degrees, which is a full degree steeper than the Specialized Epic Evo. But this was never too much of an issue for me. The head tube angle allows the bike to retain a lively and snappy feel, especially when things got tight and technical. However, at really high speeds, I did lose a little bit of confidence on the Ranger, but those times were very few and far between. The seat tube angle is 75.3 degrees, which could be a little steeper, and reach on the medium-sized frame sits at 453mm, which again is pretty conservative compared to other bikes in this category. Revel are being fairly conservative with their numbers here, but that doesn't mean these bikes aren't cutting edge. In fact, it couldn't be further from the truth. For specs on this Pro build, we've got the RockShox Sid Ultimate fork with 120mm of travel, I was really impressed with this fork. This thing is so light and really stiff. Then we've got the SID Ultimate Rear Shock out back, delivering 115mm of rear travel. The SRAM X01 drivetrain with stylo cranks worked flawlessly. The bike came with Spanx 359 Vibrocore wheels. Rims were alloy with a 30.5mm internal width, making for a really stable feel on the trail. Hubs perform well with a really nice freewheel sound, which I do appreciate, and fast engagement. I feel like these wheels played a big role in this bike being more capable than you might expect. On the wheels were the Maxxis Dissector up front and Recon out back, both with a 2.4 inch width, EXO casing, and the Max Terra compound. I really rated these tyres. They were the perfect mix of rolling resistance, stability, and grip. The KS Lev dropper post performed really well and was super solid with the smooth lever action. Brakes were SRAM's G2 RSC 4 pistons with 160mm rotors. The lever feel and modulation on these brakes was really nice, but I couldn't help feel like at least the front rotor could have been 180mm to match the bike's descending capabilities. The bike does support 180mm rotors, and that's actually how it's spec'd on the US website. Bar and stem were from Control Tech and were wide and short respectively. I mounted my trusty XT clipless pedals and this carbon bottle cage. I was able to house a 160mm bottle inside the front triangle. Let's talk about how the Ranger felt on the trail. In the 2 weeks I had it, I rode the Ranger on a range of different terrain. Probably the best test for this bike and the terrain it was most suited to was riding Lake Mountain's Cascade Trail. The Cascade Trail was pretty much the perfect downcountry trail. Lots of rough terrain and lots of descending, but also quite a lot of climbing. The Ranger absolutely ate it up. The Ranger is one super efficient pedaler thanks to the CBF suspension system, and it was able to climb anything that came its way. No need to lock the bike out or do anything particularly special with my bodyweight position. Like I said before, this is not a World Cup race bike, and it's not the lightest cross-country bike out there, but climbing on this thing was still a real pleasure. It still felt really light and agile and super efficient. And if you did have a big fire road to climb, you can just lock out the front and rear suspension. That makes things super efficient. Descending is where the Ranger really excels, and it clearly separates itself from a regular 100mm XC bike. Going from my 150mm Jekyll to this bike did not seem like a huge change to me. I didn't feel like I lost a lot of capability on the descents, but then climbing and regular trail riding were just so much better. The moment I got on this Ranger, I felt completely comfortable. The Ranger inspires so much confidence to push harder and harder on the descents. It felt so composed while cornering and in the air. I felt like I did push the Ranger to its limits, but the bike is so capable that those limits are way outside my comfort zone. Pretty impressive. Okay, pros and cons. So for pros, this bike is amazingly capable. It's light, it's snappy, it's playful, it's a great climber and even better descender. To me, it's pretty much the perfect all-round mountain bike for Australian trail riding. Cons would be the rather small rotors on this Australian demo model, a slight loss of confidence at super high speeds, and probably the price tag. This thing is not cheap. But yeah, this is a high performance bike from a boutique brand, so it's never going to be cheap. Right, well that wraps up the Revel Ranger review. I hope you got something out of this. If you did, hit the like button, and for more from this channel, hit subscribe. I also just want to say a massive thank you to Off-Road Bikes Online for giving me the opportunity to ride this Revel Ranger for 2 weeks. You should go check out their website for all the Australian configuration options and to place an order. In the meantime, ride safe, and I'll catch you soon for more tales from the trails. Ciao.